And a part of that is just, oh, and that's Tony in the front of that particular farm tour. This is
Wow.
from our garden looking back. I'm not sure what year that was, maybe 2010, maybe? I don't know. Next slide. So one of the things that Stan talked about when he was talking about having people there, and we will talk more about the risk management, but boy, when you have people coming to your farm, you really need to be taking the time to sit down with your insurance agent and really reviewing that policy as far as how many people you have, and there's a lot more associated with that too. And I think in one of your handouts that will be on the Moodle site will be an overview of having a farm events and just things that you really need to look at. But I wanted to talk a little bit about just selling into different markets and have you think about the process, and you may be way ahead of me of that. I can't know that, so I'm just going to go there, and you'll bear with me if it's a repeat of other things. And I think over the course of this series of sessions, you probably hear a lot of things over and over again, and we repeat it because we want to make sure that you realize and recognize the importance of all of these things, because that's a real important part of success. But if you're selling meat, the regulations are going to be very different if you're selling to a school or at the farmer's market versus selling a half a beef or a pig. The same goes for sales of chicken or any kind of meat birds, chickens or turkeys. The licensing and the inspection requirements change if you process more than, I think it's 20,000 chickens and 5,000 turkeys, which I don't think any of us would be doing that. I can't imagine doing that many birds, but if you get up in those numbers, everything changes as far as the regulations. But and also there's some very specific food safety regulations and inspection required for selling to some of the institutions. So and that's something that's changing almost every year. Every time there's a foodborne illness out there, the regulations change for food safety, and we'll be talking more about that next week when we go into assessing and evaluating markets in different ways. Next slide, please. So when we think about, this is a really old picture of selling to the restaurants, but this was in 1993, and certainly things have changed quite a bit. One of the things that it's really important, and I can't stress enough that you do your research and that you remember that the fact that this was fine and legal and able to do it without any kind of licensing last year doesn't mean it's going to be this way, and that's a part of, as we look into that reassessing next week, that we'll be talking about that. For any new enterprise item that you're considering investing time and money into, before you get too far, boy, you better take the time to look into the rules and regs for your state and county. I know none of us want to hear that, but that's the nature of doing business, and that's the nature of selling anything that people consume for food. So just know that a lot of the health regs, surprisingly, I know there's supposed to be a state health reg, but I have found in calling around and trying to get information that it might be different county to county and how they do their inspections and monitor some of the health regs. So you really need to be checking with your local county. And I've also found that, like, for the sales of jams and jellies and vinegars, it seems to vary. Like for us, we can sell our jams at the farmer's market, but we can't sell them to like the delicatessen that we worked with and have them be able to resell it unless we go into a commercial kitchen operation. So we really find that it varies, although it's supposed to be statewide, it does seem to vary. Next slide. But selling direct to the consumer or local businesses is number one, all about the relationships we're developing, and Stan and Tony talked about that very, very well, in that for us to have our repeat customers coming back. That's really crucial that we're developing those relationships. And a part of that is educating our customers. And I've found the best way to educate them is get them to come out to the farm. And if you can't do that, having brochures or photo albums telling your stories, that's really important. And we have one CSA member who's been with us for over 10 years, and they have never come out to the farm. The way we connected with them was they came to a talk that I gave on local food systems in Sandpoint, and they liked what I had to say. They signed up for the CSA, and they've been with us for 10 years, but they've never been here. But they keep up with our website, and they pay attention to us on Facebook, and they watch our newsletters, and they really feel a connection to us. And that's a picture of one of our former apprentices with our old billy goat, Ollie. Next slide. So one of the things that I talk about brochures. I like to have the one-on-one with customers at the farmers market. I like to have the one-on-one as much as I possibly can, because ideally having a conversation with somebody, you're certainly going to be more apt to remember it and be building on that relationship. At the same time, there's times at the farmers market where we have people in line 5 deep, and while I want to be able to talk to all of them and spend some time with them, I can't do that. But I can have my brochures on buying why they should support and sustain local farms, and I have a brochure on organic certification, and I have a brochure on growing an organic garden, and there's information about the organic certification program, and if I have special on-farm events, I always have a brochure with that. And granted, I do have a program on my computer, Office Publisher, and I did learn how to make the brochures, so as far as designing them and putting them together, I'm pretty fast at doing that, so it's a minimal cost for me to develop and design a brochure. I'm not paying somebody to do that. I'm doing that all on my own, and I'm so proud of myself. People go crazy with the brochures, but you know, it's got contact information. The people that are traveling like something to read, so it's a worthwhile endeavor. Next slide. So one of the things, because I get to talk about the rules and regs, and that's just such a favorite topic for all of us. I know it is. But selling into different markets and thinking about the labeling and certification, I think for us, I'm convinced that, and we will continue being certified organic and continue going. We have to apply for that every single year, and every single year the cost goes up. Last year it cost us over $800 to be certified organic and be able to maintain that. I know that certified naturally grown, biodynamic, eco-labels, kosher, and the USA domestic fair trade do not cost anything. At least I don't think they do. Next slide. But with our organic certification in about 5, I don't know, the years all blur together. Some years ago, quite a few years ago, we, in our application process, we signed up to be a handler processor, and which basically what that means is now we have another stack of paperwork to fill out and a whole new variety of new food safety issues and compliances to deal with. But fortunately, this ATRA.org program that I have here has a great outline. They have a step-by-step checklist that if you're thinking about becoming certified organic and you decide to go through that process, use this website as a resource. The checklist is very helpful in walking you through what you need to know to be certified organic. Next slide, please. So storytelling. I love this sign. This is one of my students from a few years ago who's now selling at the farmers market. She's made the best of, in nationally, you cannot use the term organic in the promotion of your food unless you are certified or registered organic. You have to be able to prove it if you're going to put organic on your label. And certainly there's a lot of different things. I mean, we all get caught up in the all natural, which really doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot, but I find myself still, given the circumstances, I might buy something that says all natural, although there's no regulation that goes with all natural. But in this sign that she has, it's very well done. It's no pesticides, herbicides, chemical fertilizers. She's saying everything you need to do. And of course I advised her to do this because originally they put organic out there, and I let them know that that wasn't appropriate. But anything you can do in telling your story and putting that out there, that's what the customers connect with. Next slide, please. We are always looking at different ways to, people like to stand back and peruse our signs at the farmers market, and I will not deny that I am an old hippie from the 70s, and that was a part of my world, and I always like to have signage. A lot of people at the farmers market will just have a signboard off to the side, and that works just fine too. But if somebody's standing in front of it, the customers can't see that. But the point of this sign is it's very clear that they were freshly harvested, they're certified organic, and a lot of people end up just buying them because they love the sign, and it's just a handful of peas. You also see that I don't have a pound price there. I'm just selling a bag of peas for $2. Next slide. So thinking about your marketing niche is really directly related to your pursuit of excellence. And one of the things that Stan and Tony both told you, and you will hear again and again, is sell the best that you have. And our motto has always been sell the best, compost the rest. And when it comes to developing your product, you want it to be superior. You want it to be the best that it can be. And that not only enables you to be at peace with yourself, but like Stan was talking about, your community. I mean, we rely on those repeat customers, and that is not going to be happening if we're not giving them the best that we have to offer. And and really that's the first step to successful marketing. Sell the best, compost the rest. So in the signage here, you can see everything I have. I mean, we really promote our certified organic aspect. We also promote, like on our garlic, I don't know if you can read the sign, but it says we've been growing this variety for 20 years, and garlic is a huge crop for us, so we promote the heck out of that. Next slide. So I wanted to just touch a little bit on value added, and I'm sure you know that value added just means that you're doing something that's going to increase the value of that product. And we're looking at doing a little more value added every year. I mean, I try doing a number of different things, but just a little bit about value added is to remind you that it's crucial that you know what the regulations and health codes are and get those licenses that you need and do that research before you get into that. And do your cost analysis to make sure it's going to be worthwhile for the sweat equity that you put into it in the first place. We have a link, and I'll show that in a little bit here, to Protecting Your Farm or Ranch, a guide to direct marketing in Idaho, or the Washington Green Book. And both of those books really have very specific itemized information related to rules and regs for health codes, for licenses, for everything, and it makes it an easy way to be able to peruse and really look at the information that you need to come across.